So now we move on to a storytelling portion of the show. A very cool story, a very cool person, Anoush Froundjian.
Hey guys, I'm Anoush, and well, before I tell you the details about the best job I ever had in my life, I want to just give you an idea of where I was in 2013. It was mid-October and I just got back after 4 months of living in LA, or thinking I could, and I don't know, I kind of severed all ties with New York before I left, and I quit my job, I moved out of my house, and I went there, and I met really cool people, I did really cool little jobs, but there was also a lot of struggling, and I eventually decided to come back and put some time into thinking where I could go next in my career. And when I came back, I really came back. Like I moved back to Long Island with my parents, and I didn't get my old job back, which I kind of knew I wouldn't, but I really didn't. And I started to really feel like a 29-year-old failure. So I just started applying for all kinds of jobs that I think I'd be good at. And the first interview I get called in for was to be an elf at Macy's. And so I go, and I walk through the fancy HR buildings in the hallway, and my heels are clicking on the really hard marble floors, and I'm thinking, this is a really good idea or a really horrible idea. And I go in there and I get called in to speak to 2 gentlemen, and they, we sit down, and they're like, Merry Christmas! And I was like, Merry Christmas! And they're telling me about the job. And I'm going to be a support elf, which means I'm going to be at the registers. So I'm going to print out photos and frame them and give them to customers and talk to the kids. So I get to be cheerful and joyful and also like an adult, which is perfect. So they asked me, if I'm good at being spontaneous and if I like talking to kids. And yes. And so I get the job, and I'm filling out my shift, and I leave. And I'm walking in through Macy's, like the store where the normal people are, and I'm looking at the light fixtures, and they're all silver and sparkly, and I start to get really, really excited to be back in New York. And I decide to have a good Christmas. I tell myself, you're gonna elf your way to the top, and your name is going to be Jelly, and Jelly the elf. And so when it was time for elf orientation, I was ready. And I go in there and I meet Shakira, who, her name was Shakira, and her elf name was Peppermint Stick, and she introduces me to her sister, and who is Cinnamon, and we meet all her friends, like Dimples, Snickerdoodle, Sparkle Flakes, Storybook, and we're all sitting there passing out manuals, and then Santa walks in, and Santa looks good. He looks like a Coca-Cola bottle, good. And he starts talking and welcoming us all in and telling us how important our job is and that David Sedaris is entitled to his own opinion. And I learned that the Thanksgiving Day Parade actually has, there's a reason for it, which is Santa's commute from the North Pole to Santaland, where he lives until Christmas Eve. So he's there right now. And we learned the rules, like you're not allowed to leave Macy's in your elf costume. You're not allowed to leave Macy's Santaland you can't walk through the store in your costume. You can't post pictures on Facebook or Instagram, and you can't, but if you want to, you can post it on the super secret Santaland Facebook page that you have to ask special permission for to be part of. But I respected these rules because we are Macy's. We make magic happen. And so I'm an evening Christmas elf, and I work from 4 to 10 every night, and I go in to the costume people, and I go, 18 please, because that was my elf name, my elf number, and I go and I work with Snowbell and Storybook and Candy Cane and Rising Star, and we work really well together. Like we pick up each other's cues really quickly. Like this one time, the lines were like really long, and it was like almost 10 p.m. And one parent thought that another parent was cutting him in line, and like flipped out and started to shout. And the other parent shouted back, and it got really loud, and we got scared. But we didn't know whether we should call security, because you don't want the kids to think that there are like official kind of people in Santaland. So I hear, and I noticed that Candy Cane is, while she's working, she starts singing. She goes dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh, and then we all join in just like that, and all the fields we go, laughing all the way, ha ha ha! And you know, and by the end of the song, it stops, and you can believe whatever you want to believe, but that was magic. And, I don't know. I think the thing I liked best about that job was that we all stuck up for each other. And we all really had each other's back. And we all kind of believed in keeping this one spirit alive. And I really think it worked, because it kept mine alive. And I got to keep the tights. Merry Christmas, everyone.